back.
What is going on?
Okay, welcome
Guys.
back to the Blazes. I'm Audrey.
I'm Evan.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Grace.
And we're here with the very well-known Mr. Pope, who many of y'all have known as a 9th grade humanities teacher.
Hello.
Mr. Pope, is there anything else you want to talk about yourself? Like, who are you?
This was my second year at TCS, so I'm relatively new to the community, trying to ingratiate myself to everybody here, usually by way of having my very cute little children do weird things, like knock over tables or
Teddy's
start
very
playing
strong.
drums. But yeah, I do 9th grade humanities, also doing biblical survey, logic, things here and there, doing a creative writing eloquium presently.
How is this new class of freshmen?
It's a different class, and I think I'm in a different place too. I didn't know what to expect at all last year, and so everything was kind of fresh and whatnot.
We were the guinea pigs.
They were the guinea pigs, and so I tried a lot of weird things, and sometimes they were successful, and then I got overconfident, and maybe I would try something else, and they're not sticking my landing as much. So I'm learning a lot with this crew. There's quite a bit of them, 37,
Oh, dang.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's only 9 more than last year, but it feels infinitesimally larger.
Speaking of weird things that you tried last year, what made you decide to share music with your students? Because I know when we were there, you would play us
Right.
weird songs.
They weren't weird.
They were
No,
weird.
They were not.
I was
they
not
were pretty good. It was like the
expecting
some of them
songs,
It was
but
there were
I
maybe
learned to love
things.
them, but
Yeah, it happened kind of accidentally and organically to a degree. I think the first time I played music for y'all was at Christmas, and then it kind of seemed like a thing. And at first I would try to make it kind of shoehorn into what we were talking about in humanities, and eventually became more of, I am a humanities teacher. I think ultimately, yes, you need to be reading Homer and Virgil, but you also need to graduate from 9th grade as a slightly better human than you were when you came in, and listening to beautiful music is one way towards that end.
all right. So the next question on here is Prince, water bottle, ABBA, or Sweden. I have no clue what water bottle or Sweden is, but
Who wrote
I
these
assume
questions?
you know something about that.
I mean, I like Prince, and I do have a couple stickers of Prince on my water bottle. And it's the kind of thing where I kind of forget about it until I have students, instead of listening to a lecture on Homer, they're staring at my water bottle and they're like, "Mr. Pope, why is there a picture of Prince?"
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
I thought that was a band.
Right. No, because I had a customer that used to make stickers. It was like one of her side hustles or whatever. And she gave me, when I left the company, she gave me a bunch of print stickers. And I just started put them on my guitar case and everything. And a few years ago, I put on this water bottle and then forgot about it until it became the water bottle I take with me to campus. And so, yes, there is a sticker of Prince because I like Prince.
That's
So that's
very
complicated.
nice.
And I guess because I like ABBA in Sweden also.
Wait, do you have ABBA and Sweden stickers on your water bottle?
No, but I just like ABBA and I like Sweden.
Oh, it's
Favorite ABBA song?
Oh, Waterloo. Everyone knows. Everyone knows that.
No.
It's right. You're
No,
wrong.
I don't know about that.
What about you?
Evan, I love you, but you don't know what you're talking about.
Personally, I would say "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme." But,
well, Evan.
But objectively, Waterloo is a better song
but why?
because it's nearly perfect.
Explain that.
Everything about it, the way in which it is a pop song used broadly, that both looks back, and it still sounds of the time,
Hmm.
and I think sounds like it could have been recorded tomorrow.
wait, isn't Waterloo
okay.
about Napoleon?
I mean, technically,
Well,
I'm talking about the
sorta.
musical structure of it.
Mm.
There are
Um,
elements of boogie woogie on the piano part. Hear that left hand doing the bass lines on the piano.
Yeah.
There's doo-wop elements to the vocal arrangements. But yet the sort of chord changes are slightly more progressive than you would get in most kind of 1/4/5 pop songs. So there's something that sounds very much of the time in the 70s when it was written. And yet I still think the arrangements of it are great. It doesn't lean too heavily on synthesizer. There's nothing that sounds dated about it.
Do you think ABBA is one of the top bands in the 70s, or would you say they're
They're interesting to me because it was one of the last times, especially in the 70s, where things were very started to deviate between what was popular
Yeah.
and what was artistic or
Yeah.
cool, or for lack of a better word. So ABBA was one of the last times that a band had amazing commercial success and everyone knew who they were, and yet people still can look back on them like whether it's a guy who plays hardcore punk or prog rock or whatever, everybody loved ABBA.
Yeah.
And you don't really see a lot of that after about that time. You know, there were no big bands like the Beatles or the Stones anymore.
Yeah.
Everything got kind of fragmented.
Every episode, we're going to try to do our favorite song at the moment. So we'll just go around. And I can go first. I can go first. Right now, I've been listening to Gone by Adrian Linker.
Gone?
Yeah, Gone.
I've been listening to an older song, but For the Longest Time by Billy Joel.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that song.
And I've been listening to a lot of Pink Pantheress, Pain, and there's the other one with Willow, but I forgot what the name was, but she's really good. So,
Audrey, what are you listening to?
Well, that's a good question. I feel like I don't listen to like a lot of music like with words now. I'm just kind of listening to like a lot more instrumentals.
Is this stuff like if you're studying?
I listen to a lot more
do
study
that.
music than like actual
I used
singing
to-
music.
Especially when I was a college student, because I couldn't listen to a lot of classical music, like instrumental, because as a musician, and you might have this thing, I would try to like see the music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I love like string quartets, but I couldn't do that because I'd be listening for the individual parts.
Yeah.
So what I did was listen to ambient music.
Yeah.
Like was it Tim Hecker is his name? If any of y'all have heard him, he does really great ambient music. But he had this one album that was, I forgot what it was called. Dropped Pianos. That's what it was called. Dropped Pianos. And he did like actual analog physical instruments, but he kind of cut them up into basically like sound collage. And so it's like organic instrumentation, but it's not being performed in the normal way. And I used to listen to that a lot to study.
I always find that like all those like lo-fi ambient music, they always have like the weirdest names.
Like a mix like on Spotify.
Yeah, like even like the individual songs always have like the weirdest names. Like the most random, like nothing correlates to the music.
Yeah, but it's also, what is it? I think there was a lot of the emo bands when I was younger would always have, like they would have songs with lyrics and they'd be kind of straightforward songs, but the title was always like unrelated to what the song is. I remember Fall Out Boy used to do that kind of stuff. Do you remember? But yeah, just like, and I think it was kind of like a trope that you would just have a nonsense title.
Honestly, that kind of like annoys me like a bit when people.
It does.
That. Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
trying to like,
very
always,
eye rolling.
Connect the title to the lyrics that are in the song, but
yeah, it seems kind of like a petulant child.
Yeah,
would do that.
Do you play instruments?
I do. I play guitar probably more than any of the instruments, just because it's easier. It seems to make sense to play in most settings. Yeah. But I was originally classically trained as a double bass player.
Oh. It's a big instrument.
It is bigger than cello.
Well, cello sounds a lot smoother. In my
but there's always room for cello. That's a joke I don't think y'all are gonna get because it was an old Jello advertisement in the. Ask your parents. Ask your parents. Okay. It's a thing. But yeah, I
there's always room for Jello.
Yes. It's a pun. It's a pun.
Okay. Okay. It takes me a while to get things.
Okay.
I suck. Okay.
But I really miss playing in orchestras. It was really enjoyable. Did a couple jazz ensembles in college, which was fun. But yeah, and then I'll try my hand at keyboards and various other stringed instruments, but mainly stick to bass and guitar.
Wait, so basses are in orchestras? I thought it was just like jazzy kind of. I've never seen a bass.
They're in symphonies.
Oh wait, yeah. Okay.
But here's Audrey might not know that because they sit behind the cellos.
Okay.
So they're always kind of in the back corner.
Yeah, they're always in the back.
In a full orchestra, we're usually by the trombones and the tubas, like a lot of the heavier brass, which normally are cut-ups, like bass players are. So.
Wait, and when did you do orchestra? Was it like high school?
I started in 5th grade, and I played
okay.
through my sophomore year of college.
Wow. Nice.
Okay, Mr. Pope.
We also heard that you write poetry, so what is either like your creative methods or your specific spin? What's kind of your style in terms of poetry?
Well, I think it's important, and I've for the first time I've taught a little bit of creative writing here for an eloquium. And that's actually been interesting because normally I just wrote for years. I took a lot of writing classes, but I never really had to talk about my writing much until this year. And that's actually been interesting because normally writers don't get asked that unless like they're known as a writer, right? Because if you because I'm sure y'all have done some writing here and there, right? Just kind of creatively on the side, but no one's usually asking you. So that's a question I don't really know at this point how to answer because it's new to me to talk about it. But I usually tell students to write what you know, not because y'all live interesting lives and you're interesting people. I'm sure you are, as your mother would all tell us, right? But if you write what you know, you don't have to waste time doing research. And that I firmly believe that when students or any writer is able to be specific and personal in an emotional way, you can actually make universal connections. I mean, think about the music that we listen to, the poems that we like, the novels that speak to us often have protagonists that have nothing to do with us. Or maybe they have one thing, and maybe that even we focus on that because everything else is wildly different. So write what you know, and you just might be able to make a connection to an audience.
What's your comfort authur that you listen to? That's the most comfort.
Wait, author or
author for a poet?
Poet?
Yeah.
Sure. I'd say for comfort food, I would say probably the Irish poet Seamus Heaney.
Okay.
He's very
We've memorized
comfortable.
Yeah.
I think y'all did digging back in the day.
Oh yes.
I think he's just great. He's very familial. He writes about his family a lot, whether it's his ancestors or his children or grandchildren. And he passed away not too long ago, but he lived a very full life, published probably about 20 or so books of poetry. And he's very comforting to me.
Yeah.
Are you writing any poetry right now? You got any works in the making?
Yeah, I have one long poem. It's a triptych. It's a 3-part poem that I started maybe 5 years ago, and I wrote the first and the third part, and then the second part's really hard, and I put it down for a long time, but every now and then I open it up and try to write it again. One day.
So the Noxia Poetica deadline is coming up for anyone who wants to submit poems. It's going to be on February 11th.
Quickly.
Yeah, write quickly. The deadline is at midnight for anyone who likes to procrastinate till the last hour.
Me.
I've definitely done that, so I'm not saying it's a great thing, but...
Yeah, or you could pull out some old ones that you wrote when you were 5. That works.
Cool. So I guess for anyone who hasn't met Mr. Pope, that was a good insight into who he is a little bit.
What is an outro?
I don't know.
What would you say?
You're just closing thoughts.
I don't know. Usually, I listen to comedy podcasts, and so they're always plugging things. I'll be at UCB Theater on Saturday night.
Subscribe.
Go follow my Instagram.
Yeah. It's you can find me on at Mr. Pope.
Actually?
No. I did the.
What's your Instagram?
I think before I started teaching, I tried to purge the internet of my existence. I have currently one Samantha Cartagena who prides herself on finding things, and she was able somehow to find a picture that used to be my Twitter image, the avatar for my Twitter handle.
That's kind of disturbing.
It's super disturbing because I thought I had deactivated that or something. I don't know.
You have to watch out for those freshmen. They're an interesting bunch.
Yeah.
And I remember in 8th grade, Mr. Christopherson said that there was a video of him singing this song, and I remember there was a big hunt to try to find this song.
SoundCloud of a lot of stuff. And I got rid of most of it, especially which I'm glad I had the wisdom to do it, because it was when I was a kid. It was when I say kid, I mean a sophomore in college. It was cool to do lo-fi acoustic guitar covers of hip hop songs.
Oh, okay.
It was a whole convention.
We're gonna have to.
And so there were several recordings I did that I'm pretty sure I've gotten rid of.
We're gonna have to find your secret.
The hunt has started.
Yeah.
Find Mr.
I think
Pope's old
some
song.
can be out there, but I think I don't think there's anything too incriminating. But back when I was on Facebook, I would always have a ton of links to the SoundCloud.
Oh, yeah.
But this was 2012.
And then you deleted all the socials to.
And also I got off Facebook as pretty early on. As soon as they opened up Facebook to adults and not college students,
because it is kind of for
because once my mom joined it, once my mom was able to join Facebook, I was done. And so then I did Twitter for years because I did have an Instagram, but I don't take photographs a lot. I'm not really good. Some people just have good eyes for photography, and I don't. But I like Twitter because I liked the brevity of it when it used to be 140 characters.
Twitter
and I would try to be funny.
Yeah.
But then it turned into a dumpster fire.
Yeah, no,
and,
Twitter
like,
is
and
absolutely.
politics and everybody weighing in. And so probably about 5 years ago, I got rid of all socials. And but I do have a pretty cool TikTok account.
TikTok?
No, of course not.
Of
course not.
We did not fall
No.
for that.
Yeah, I generally don't want any online presence.
Yeah.
It's more. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I've made all the connections that I like need to make, and if I need to make more, I do them like meeting coworkers or something.
Mr. Pope, do you want to drop the Spotify account?
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
the-
say, so now you're on Spotify.
Spotify accounts for people to listen to the playlists.
I'm not on Spotify anymore. I used to have a premium.
Okay.
I used to have a premium account that was paid for when I used to work at Starbucks.
Oh.
And I had that for years, and then when they stopped paying for it, I was like, I don't feel like paying.
Oh, Starbucks paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to get a job
To like
at
play
Starbucks.
play it in the.
Well, no, I
place
could,
or
as
just-
an employee, I got a free Spotify account because Starbucks made a deal with Spotify.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was one of the
Perks.
like
Okay.
fringe benefits or whatever. Yeah, it was one of the little benefits. And I loved it. For years I used Spotify, but I don't really like streaming music now.
Yeah.
I'll use Spotify for podcasts.
So how do you listen to your music? Is it Apple?
CDs.
CDs?
Wait, really?
Okay.
Or I'm at home, I listen to records.
Oh, okay.
But I like
they-
CDs in my
they-
car.
They
Don't
even
we-
make those for like newer songs,
I
or
don't think so.
CDs?
No,
Yeah.
no, they make
Yeah.
that, right? They make
No,
They
that.
make records.
there's been a revival in CDs because what happened around the time of the pandemic is that vinyl got even more popular than it already was, and it was too expensive to start to make records, and so people started making CDs again, and young people like maybe a little older than y'all who never really grew up with CDs started like obsessively collecting them. So
Oh,
I would go
vintage
try to find
collection.
yeah because it's
digital
vintage to them,
collections.
and like then they get like CD like Discman like
Yeah.
Sony CD Walkman and be like, oh, we're so cool, and it's like early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so like I would try to find certain CDs and they'd be sold out. I was like, why is this CD sold out? And so, like, a bunch of kids are buying them now. But like especially like those oh goodness, like if you go on Pitchfork, the music group thing, they always talk about those compilations done like of Tokyo City Pop.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
talking
Yeah,
about? And they do those compilations and they release them as CDs.
Oh,
and
really? Okay.
young people like in their like early 20s
Yeah.
are buying them up in droves
Oh.
and making like legit old people
Yeah.
like me really mad because I
Yeah.
want my CDs.
I
They
was-
also it's really good quality. There's no better quality than CD unless you get a lossless
Yeah.
audio file. And so if you listen to enough music, especially when you're wearing headphones, you can pick up on bad audio quality and streaming. And especially if it's a song that I've listened to 1,000 times,
Yeah.
Oh.
I will
You can
know
hear the
that's the sort of what's been lost in the audio quality. So I like CDs.
Yeah. I think I only have 2 CDs. The first one is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Fair enough.
The volume 1, and then the second one I have is a Shakira CD. And I don't know
Nice.
why. I
Which
don't know
one?
why. I
Expecting
think
that?
it's Oral Fixation.
Volume 1 or 2?
I think volume 1.
Volume 1. That was that the Spanish language one?
I think
Or
so.
was it-
Yeah.
and then there's Oral
Yeah.
Fixation Volume 2. I love Shaki.
No, I love Shakira.
Yeah.
She's pretty great.
Yeah.
I had a college roommate who introduced me to her music, and she also like tried a lot of different genres, whether it was like Tejano rock or pop or even folky things, and of course like world or dance music. I think she always tried to experiment with genre.
Favorite album by Shakira?
That's hard. Donde está las ladrones?
What?
I like that one. It was one of her earlier Spanish language albums, but it was mostly like Mexican rock, which I really liked. A little different from the stuff that most people jumped on with Hips Don't Lie or something.
What does that mean?
Where Are the Thieves?
Oh.
It was she had a whole book of poems that were going to become songs. She was at an airport and they all got stolen, and she thought like, oh no, I got to start over. And so the first song, I think at least from what I remember that she wrote, was the song of Where Are the Thieves. That took all my ideas.
That is
So
a
she
great
used that
origin
terrible.
story.
She took that terrible moment and it kind of spurred on new creative things. And a lot of the
Oh.
songs from the album come from
Making
that.
the good
time.
out of the bad.
Inspirational.
Yeah, very inspirational.
Wow.
Shakira.
I mean, got a weird voice, but
Yeah.
she
Nah,
goes
it's
with
good-
it.
it's good, though.
She,
It's
she
good.
goes
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
unique.
Sounds like a bleeding goat, but she takes it around. I always really liked the line
Wow.
in one of her songs where she talked about the perfect man to take her out dancing on Saturday into church on Sunday,
Aw.
and I appreciate that.
That's
Sweet.
Oh, there's
That's the kind of guy we always want. Right? on that note, see, that's how you do an outro.
We already recorded, or do you want to do it again?
Mr. Pope, you want to try the outro?
Oh, I don't know.
I know you get stuck. It feels like you get stuck.
yeah,
when you have to
you
do it, you get stuck. I never had to do it. And here's hoping all of y'all in podcast world are able to find a man to take you out dancing on Saturday and church on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. That was good. No, that was.
Go get some lunch.